We didn't come to Africa to eat muesli or granola and have coffee. We came for wild dogs. We came for wild dogs.
I give it all that I got will never stop. I give it all, straight to the top, will never stop. I give it all that I have, I let it be, cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all. Yeah, all that I got, I give it everything. They lost the plot, they think I'm menacing. They wanna talk, but I ain't settling. Circle is tight, feeling like better rains. Whole lot of globe.
Good morning from Ruaha National Park, Asilia Africa's amazing Jabali Ridge. Last full day of the game drive today. Beautiful sky this morning. Fantastic to be here. The sky amazing, the animals amazing, staff's amazing. And yesterday and today the alarm woke me up, so I'm getting more acclimated to the time and certainly the heat. And Lydia is bringing some green tea before the game drive. Good morning, Lydia.
Morning, Lee. Hello.
All right. Thank you for the green tea. Looking forward to it.
You're welcome.
All right. What will I see today in the pole?
Maybe Chewy.
Chewy? Okay. Leopard. I like that. What about Mchaka Chaka?
Chaka Chaka. Chaka Chaka. Simba.
Oh, Simba. Okay, but not younger. That's a little soccer joke here in Tanzania. So 5-1. All right, we'll see. Little did I know that this morning's game drive was going to be one of the absolute best wildlife viewing days of my life. Now, I wish I could say it was the best wildlife photography day of my life, but each encounter, although it was absolutely incredible, each represented different challenges for photography. We come along and we're looking for the lions and lion cubs. This is in the area of the Mdonia River. It's on the backside of the small mountain or rocky hill where we saw them the other day, and we heard that they had moved, so we're looking at this area. We're driving very slow. Samuel's looking out, looking for tracks, and he sees first lion tracks, then he sees different sets of lion tracks coming and going, so that indicates it could be a den. So we keep going in that direction, going very slow, in and out of a couple of the game routes, as it were. And we didn't see anything. And we come up on 2 fish eagles. And so we're like, okay, we'll photograph some fish eagles. So we pull in. Here I'm asking Samwel to drive in a little closer so I can see both eagles at the same time. And we're sitting and we're just going to wait. We don't have anything better to do other than to photograph the wildlife. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to wait. So I'm waiting on this fish eagle to fly for about 30 minutes. We're sitting here waiting. And then we hear meow. And I'm like, holy shit, those are cats. Samwel gets up, I get up. We're looking down into the creek, and there they are. They're lions. The 2 mothers and the 6 cubs. And so I get the camera and I'm looking and I'm holding it up and I'm like I'm standing up as high as I can, as tall as I can, and I'm like this, and the lens heavy and it's moving around, so I'm using the awning of the Land Cruiser to help support, and I'm like this, and again I'm standing up, and that mom looks at me and she's uncomfortable. And she's looking at me and she's giving me stink eye, and I'm thinking 2 steps and 1 jump, and she's in the Land Cruiser all over me. And I sit down all meek and humble. And for the first time in Africa, I felt this could be dangerous. Samwel turns around, he's like, sit down, sit down. I'm already sitting down because that's how worried I was. We're as close as we can get without falling off into the creek. The mother finally relaxes, sits down, and the cubs nurse. And we stayed there for about an hour and photograph. Now, I did say it was a challenging environment, and it was, because it was so hard to get clear views of the lions and the cubs. There was thickets and bush and grass, and I think that's one reason why I love this encounter so much, is because it is completely and totally wild. There's nothing fabricated about this experience. There's nothing inauthentic. There's nothing unnatural. There's nothing even man-made about it, other than the fact that we're standing or sitting in the Land Cruiser trying to photograph these beautiful animals. What a wonderful wildlife encounter this was. So we stayed with the cubs for about an hour, photographed them, and then we moved on. We were the only vehicle there. Samwel radioed in to his fellow Asilia guides, and I'm sure they went and enjoyed them, but they probably didn't stay that long, just because it was difficult to get that mother to feel comfortable with our presence. So we leave the lions, we're going along. Samwel takes me to the spotted owl that you saw in episode 2. We keep going, and then I see a leopard. Leopard. It's down below in the rocks. It's like the leopard's lair, far away. I do the best I can with the 600. I probably shot even at 1.6 crop on this. I didn't put the extender on because by this point the heat was getting up and there's some heat haze to shoot through. The leopard was in the shade, so here's a shot. It's a little more of an environmental portrait than anything, but man, this leopard was so beautiful and strong, big male leopard. So from there, again, beautiful encounter, but a little challenging for photography because of the distance and the light, leopard being in the shade. So we go on, it's breakfast time, so we stop, set up for breakfast, and then Samwel hears on radio, wild dogs, the pack of wild dogs, the elusive pack of wild dogs that we've been looking for 7 days now, and we got them. They're nearby. Samwel's like, they're nearby, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Good morning. We cut breakfast short because we have word of pack of wild dogs, so we didn't come to Africa to eat muesli or granola and have coffee. We came for wild dogs, so we're going to go see if we can find them. Then we'll finish up breakfast either at the site or afterwards. So wish us luck.
Oh, it's there.
Okay, I see. Yep.
Big shape.
Yep.
Let's find a good angle.
Yep.
It could be difficult to get there, but you can see. Can I drive there?
Yeah. Wow. Look at them all.
It's good here?
Yeah, this is great. We got dogs. 13 adults, 12 pups, and they're all chilling under a tree across the river. When we arrived, we're the only car. Later, several cars came up, but we sat with them for probably 2.5, 3 hours. They started under the tree. Again, you can tell by the light, almost midday by this time, or at least late morning, and in Africa that's basically midday light. So very, very harsh light, very strong light. They're in the shade. We got to shoot way across the river. Again, challenging photography, but what a wonderful wildlife encounter. The wild dogs of 25, Magusi River, absolutely gorgeous animals.
I give it all that I got will never stop. I give it all, straight to the top, will never stop. I give it all that I have, I let it be, cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all. Yeah, all that I got, I give it everything. They lost the plot, they think I'm menacing. They wanna talk, but I ain't settling. Circle is tight, feeling like better rains. Whole lot of globe trotting, man, they don't know nada. Bro, gotta show something to me and go harder. So proper, nah, not that, we sure gotta give it all raw now, like Don Dallas. All that I got will never stop. I give it all, straight to the top, will never flop. I give it all, they won't be rocked, I never blow. I give it all, whoa, what you say, my man? Give it all, whoa, hey, give it all, whoa, yeah, stand tall, give it all that I have, I let it be, cause nobody's better than me. What do you see? Give it all, what do you think when people look at me?
And the pups came into the water, bathed, played around, jumped up on the rocks, and again, you do the best you can with the lighting conditions that are there. It's really, really harsh light, high contrast. But at this point, sometimes it's not about the images. It's about the experience and seeing these beautiful animals. And man, I'm so thankful that we had the opportunity to see them. And the wild dogs are beautiful. This experience alone, this day alone, will likely send me back to Ruaha at some point. I don't know if I'll go next year or the year after, but just this memory of this one morning with 2 lionesses, 6 lion cubs, leopard, pack of 25 wild dogs, and then I got a baboon in a palm tree as the early morning sunlight shining right onto him. We have impalas running around. We got birds. So these are the days when probably the experience pulls you back much more than the photograph. The experience of being there pulls you back. And the fact that the photography was so difficult on this particular day with these particular encounters, that makes you want to go back even more. I always say there's no perfect photo. And I think this is an example of that. Yeah, I could have done better. Maybe I should have done better. But I did the best I could, and I had a great time doing it. So wonderful encounter on this wonderful morning. And Lydia was right. We saw Chewy, leopard, and Chaka Chaka, the wild dogs, and Simba, the lions. So Lydia, thanks for calling it on the day. And we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit more about landscape photography while on safari. And that's another difficult aspect of photographing on a safari. Landscapes on safari. Coming up next as we continue our Ruaha Safari deep in the bush. Now, if you like the episode, give it a thumbs up. And as always, please subscribe to the channel. That'll help me out a lot. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Coming up, we'll talk about landscape photography while on safari. Golden hours here. The sky's going off. And you're in a Land Cruiser on a game drive. One of the most difficult things on safari is photographing landscape. You're in a beautiful land, a very exotic land. You don't know the land at all, and you're not driving. How to photograph these magical moments when the sky goes off, when the light turns gold and red and pink. So here are a few tips to help you photograph landscape while on safari. Tip number 1. While on your game drives, look for photographic subjects that are near to camp and mention them to your guide. For example, if you see a beautiful tree in an open area, mention that to your guide and plant the seed so that the guide is aware that you may want to photograph this subject during your safari. That way you can always reference these locations back to them, and you'll have a little greater understanding of each other if and when the light turns nice for a landscape photograph, whether it be in the morning or in the evening. I like to look for trees and bodies of water, like rivers and lakes. Trees provide a wonderful sense of place for a landscape. So in Ruaha, I was looking for palm trees and baobabs. Silhouettes of these trees against the sky, I think, are a nice landscape subject, especially given the scenario of photographing while on safari. Water gives opportunities for reflections, and rivers provide leading lines, traditional compositional element of landscape photography. Water sources like lakes also give opportunities for wildlife to come, so that you may be able to photograph the wildlife in a silhouette against the sky, or perhaps utilize the rim light to highlight their beautiful fur and coat. A second tip: when you wake up and see that the sky has potential, go ahead and put on a wider lens on your primary camera body. Get in the mindset from the very start of the game drive that you're going to photograph a landscape, that you're going to photograph a scenic. And Look for those photographic subjects that you've referenced to your guide on previous mornings and evenings out in the bush. So with that wider lens, think of a 24-70, a 24-105, 28-70, or what I used on this morning was a 70-200. A very wide lens may not be practical because it's difficult to bring in those traditional elements of landscape photography, such as leading lines. And secondly, it's really difficult to get very, very close to your subject because you need to stay on the road to some degree. The third thing to remember is be flexible. This is not a perfect, ideal scenario for landscape photography. In normal landscape photography, it's likely you've scouted the location, you've done a couple of reconnaissance missions, you know where the sun's going to rise, you know when the sun's going to rise, and you have a general idea of what it is that you want to photograph. However, when you're on safari, all of that goes out the window of the Land Cruiser because we just have so little control of what's already a very uncontrollable situation. Lastly, you may want to bring along a dedicated landscape or scenic camera. Now, this doesn't have to be the latest and greatest. It could be a small point and shoot, or it could be a used item or an old DSLR, or even, God forbid, your iPhone. Now, I'm not a proponent of using iPhone for photography. I think there's better tools to communicate the beauty and energy of nature. However, I do recognize that it is difficult to take a lens away from a camera just for scenic when you're out looking for the animals and hoping to photograph the wildlife. And you never know what animal may come out while you're out photographing a tree. And you have that opportunity for the silhouette of the animal against a beautiful sky. So I always think we need to be prepared for the wildlife scenario. But if we are going to indulge in a scenic photograph with the beautiful sky while we're out in the bush on safari, it may be helpful to go on and have that dedicated point and shoot or smaller camera ready and available for these moments. And I think you'll find this useful even throughout the day when a rain cloud comes up, or when you're passing a grove or a forest of baobabs, or it's just a cloud, or maybe that animal in landscape with the elephant that comes near to the vehicle, and you already have that wider angle of view ready to go. So for me, I came back and I was fortunate to find a like-new used Leica Q2 reporter, and so that's what I got. And from here on out, that's going to be around my neck at all times, and that's going to be my scenic camera, and ready for the landscape opportunities that will invariably come up. But just remember all of the things we discussed. It's not the ideal landscape scenario. You have to be flexible. There's a lot of elements outside of your control. You don't know the land. You have to communicate where it is you want to be to your guide. And the guide will do the best that they can to help us get in that position. But again, it is a little difficult for us to communicate where we want to be, and it's difficult for the guide to get us exactly where we want to be. And even though you're in the same Land Cruiser, you're in different seats, so you have certainly a different angle of view on these beautiful scenes that we're trying to photograph. Just have fun with it, enjoy the experience, and fingers crossed that a beautiful sky does happen while you're out on game drive, and do the best you can and photograph it. Regardless of the camera you use or the lens or the photographic result, take it into your heart and soul and let it warm you. And man, these moments are magical, and they make the safari all the better. All right. We'll end this episode with a couple of landscapes that I took while on safari in Ruaha, and we'll throw in a couple of animal and landscapes as well. So we shouldn't forget those nature scenes that present themselves. Everything doesn't have to be tight and up close with the long lens. All right. Thank you very much for watching the episode. If you have comments on how I can improve or things that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments. I am new to the YouTube game, and I'm always looking to provide better content and present it in a more enjoyable way for you guys. So let me know in the comments. And yeah, if you've been on safari, I'd love to hear that. Love to hear your experience of photographing the landscape while on safari and what magical moments came about. And again, of course, like and subscribe. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a good one. Aloha.